Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and it's good to be back. I had a good weekend. I hope all of you had a good weekend as well. Today, we're going to start by going over a pull request. So, I got a really big pull request. Let me bring this over, and you all can check this out. You can see there's a lot going on here. Okay. So this is pull request 41. So if you want to check it out, the link to the repo is in the description. And I went over all of it this morning, but I haven't merged it yet because there's a lot going on here, and there's some big decisions made. So I thought I'd like to give all of you an opportunity to give me some feedback. Let me know what your opinion is before we merge it, since it's such a significant change to the project. So just to give you, well, I'll go over and let you see. If you can't bring this up on your own computer right now, I'll bring it up. So really appreciate this pull request. It definitely addresses a lot of things. Some things that I had kind of realized but just figured out I'll do that later. And then some other things that I didn't even realize yet. Like, for instance, I had just done this, I think, on Friday and didn't even notice that I was getting this warning. So, I don't know, maybe at some point I probably would have seen that, but it's nice that this was caught so soon. But so some of these are, I think, may help with some errors that have been reported, or people are trying to run this, trying to clone the repo and start it up, and they're getting some errors. So I think this issue here is probably where some of the errors were coming from. So I know I had somebody recently on, I think it was Twitter, messaged me about it. Yes, I think it was Nathaniel, who's in the live chat, frequently, had a similar issue where basically, I'll show you since I know I have it up now. So basically, it was saying handleclose isn't defined. So this seems like that would fix that problem. But here's some of the things that I'm not sure about, and if you have a chance to go through and let me know what you think, I'd really appreciate that. But it is a lot. So I'm going to try to point out just a few of the areas that I'm not sure about, I don't maybe understand fully. And that way it'll narrow it down a bit if you don't really want to take the time to go through all of it. Maybe if you could just check out the few sections that I'm not sure about, that would be helpful. And one of the things I'm not sure about, so I'm sure that this change will fix some of those errors from what I've seen and what I've read about it after I've done a bit of research to try to figure out exactly what the issue was. So I know before, in a lot of videos before, we've been using arrow functions because it helps with this, right, inside the function, so we get the right value for this. But evidently, there are some problems with using arrow functions as well that I was not aware of. So I'll show you, I just did something, so the new way. So basically, and you can see how, so the pull request is from Matt, right? So you can see how Matt redid everything to this way, but I just wanted to understand it myself. So I was already adding this hover effect, and I figured, well, normally I would do this with arrow functions, but I'm going to try it this other way. So basically, we bind this inside this constructor, and then instead of using arrow functions here, we just use normal functions, and then we call it, normally down here. So I am checking for a prop because I don't want the hover effect to be the default. But basically, it's just this on mouse out or on mouse over. All right, so you can get the point. Let me make it a bit bigger, just in case you can't see. So if you've been following these videos or you use React on your own, you could probably see what's going on here. The alternative being, so right now in side nav, right, we're not binding this in the constructor. We're just doing handle close. We're putting this in the arrow function. We're still calling it down here the same way, right? So that's one of the things I'm not sure about. What are the pros and cons of each? The obvious thing is that this is a shorter way of doing things. Obviously, especially you start to get more of these, can really add up. So aside from this being the shorter way, is there some way? I guess what I'm wondering is there some way to keep this, okay, just like this, the nice, just one line, really easy, but then still avoid any errors that might arise from this. So like the error that Nathaniel was having in particular, where it won't load the page for him. It keeps saying that it's not found. So that's one thing I'm unsure about. I tried to do some research, but just really didn't find a definitive answer. So I'm fine with doing it like this, but I kind of want to get to the bottom of the issue and figure out, like, is there one way that is recognized as the best practice? And I know sometimes that there's not a way. So that's just how it is. Sometimes it's debated, and I'm okay if it's debatable. Then I'm fine with going this way because I'd rather add another line or two and make sure that there are no errors. That's fine with me. But I thought this would just be a good time to see, all right, how should we really be doing this? So that's one issue. The other issue that I wasn't sure about, let's see. I guess there's two more I wasn't sure about. So this is, so Matt's adjusted the components to initialize state in the class constructor. So we are using the constructor here, we're using the constructor here, but I know in other components we're not. Let me try to find one where we're not. Sidebar item. I guess we are in a lot of them. So maybe I don't have one that I'm using that's easy to find. Oh, here we go. Alright, so here's the example. So instead of doing this, where I've just set state very simply, instead using the constructor and using this set state. So from what I understand and what I've seen in the pull request, everywhere that I've done this has now been changed to use the constructor. Is that what I should be doing? And this really is not so much me like calling into question the pull request or doubting that at all, because I think it's really solid and it definitely shows like Matt knows what he's doing. And he did take the time, to explain, and not even just in the pull request, but in comments to previous videos and things. So this is more for my understanding of, have I been doing it wrong? Should I be doing it better? I want to do it better, for myself because I want to do good work. But also, if I'm going to be putting this stuff on YouTube, I don't want to mislead anyone into doing the wrong thing. So that's another thing I'm not sure about. I had been using this and it's been working, right? I haven't been getting any errors, but maybe there's some problem with this that I'm not aware of, and I should be doing this all the time instead of this. So that's number 2. Number 3 is there's not really going to be any demonstration. I just need to say it. So Matt has ejected Create React App. So if you remember, I don't know, one of the first few videos that we did for this project, we actually tried to eject it. So we did it. We made a whole nother project folder and cloned this project into that folder. We ejected, and then we compared side by side the structure of the folders, right? So the reason that he ejected has to do with the sass files. So I guess, and this is where like his abilities definitely go beyond my own in terms of setting up Webpack, because I'm not really that great with Webpack. So I'm definitely going by his explanation because I've never done this with Webpack. But it seems like what's going on is that the styles can be so like there's no more CSS files when we're in development, and the sass, it's just sass files. So I mean, I guess that's cool, saying basically like when you go to build, then there'll be CSS files, but not during the dev process, which should speed things up. Also, the way the sass files are set up is different. So let me show you. And of course, you know, this is all available. You can check this out more on your own. But everything's set up like this now. And you can see there's some comments for explaining how to import files. And so I guess I wouldn't have to import anymore into my components. I could just use it all. So this part, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna work just from reading this. I'm sure if I tried to use it, you know, I'd catch on. But anyway, as you can see, this is a really big pull request. A lot of stuff has changed, so definitely didn't want to just merge this in and say, hey everybody, hope you had a nice weekend, everything's changed. So that said, there's definitely some good things. I think there's some good things in here, and then there's some things that I'm just not sure about, and it might be just because of my inexperience. So I'm going to leave it all to you. Let me know. I don't think I'm going to make a decision on this yet. I think I'm going to, you all can let me know what you think in the live chat. We're going to do some code on some other components, so I'm just going to jump right into what I was working on. I just had my Pomodoro cycle end right when I started. So this is kind of nice because this has been my little break in between. We'll go right back into another one and start coding. And that'll give you all a chance, if you want to check out the pull request on GitHub. And then maybe later on, either in one of the breaks between coding sessions or at the end, then maybe we could try to come to some sort of consensus. And that might not be a bad idea in case there are people that can't watch until later. They can still have a chance to join in. So I will take a look at what's going on in the live chat since I started. And then I'm going to start my timer and get to work. We're going to be working on that generic card component. I'll show you, I already showed you how I made the hover effect, so I don't really need to go over that again, but I would like to show you what I've done so far in making them. I would like to have the option to make them links, like the entire card be a link that you could click on. I know that's not the normal. I mean, normally with material design you have little buttons at the bottom and you click those. But I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen in apps, like mobile apps, Google apps, where you can click and the entire card is a link. I'm thinking in particular of the news app. So it still might be within the parameters of material design, but you'll see what if you don't already get what I'm saying, then you'll see in a minute. I had someone in here at a few hours ago giving a bunch of emojis and things, so that was kind of funny to see that. But no one was in there, and I didn't really see it until the person already left. So let's see. Aside from that, let's see. Both are correct. Okay. Hey everybody, I see some people are saying hi. Okay. Alright, I'm getting some good feedback already. Basically, just to sum up, just for time, it seems that the way that we have been doing things is allowed with the ES, is it ES 2016 syntax? Okay, so some of the newer JavaScript syntax allows what we have been doing, and so some of the stuff, I guess, that's in this pull request works as well, but it's an older way of doing things. So, okay. Well, at least I know I haven't been misleading people and doing the wrong thing. I still really do want to know if, I guess, what the error was coming from, and how do I avoid that using the new syntax. Okay. All right. I'm going to, so far, really good feedback. Thank you. I'm going to keep thinking about this as well while we're doing the other stuff, because, to be honest with you, like I really appreciate all the effort that this took, that Matt put into this. So I almost kind of wish it were split up a bit into different pull requests, because then I could pull in just the things that I know I want for sure, and then have a little bit more time to think about the other stuff. So I don't know if Matt's watching or not, and I'd hate to ask him to redo it and split it up because he put so much work into it, but we'll see. I don't want to decide yet. We'll give it a little bit of time to think about it. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to pull this over to the side for now. Let me show you what I've been working on. So here's the nice hover. So now if you do want to add a hover to anytime you're using the generic card component, and I mean this is in my project, or if you clone this project and you want to use it to start. So I know there are some people that have cloned this project and the previous project and are just modifying it and using it as the basis for another project, which I think is really, really cool. I've gotten to see some of you have sent me links either to a live demo or the repo, and I've been able to like clone it and run it, and it's really, really cool seeing how you modified what I've done, made it better, adapted it. So anyway, if anybody's doing that and you haven't told me about it, I definitely want to know, because I think it's really cool. But anyway, let me show you how I've used this. Okay, so right now I'm using the generic card component in posters.js. So I have put in the actual content that is supposed to be in there, got rid of all the lorem ipsum, and now if you add hoverable to the generic card component, you get that hover effect, which Material UI has built in this depth, or I guess this Z depth, but it's on the paper element. So you can't use it on card, you have to use it on paper. So I had to wrap this in paper, and the only thing I had to do, I don't think I had to change anything else. Yeah. Everything else I think stayed the same. Yeah, because we had bound the styles to get some of the other things working, like our Flexbox stuff, to whatever the div is that's an immediate child of our other div. So like our container div here, this column. So when we switched it out for paper, when all this gets converted to just plain HTML, it's still just a div. So since we set up our styles like that, it was actually kind of nice. Had we added the style directly to the card in some other way, or with a class, it actually would have been more work. So I didn't do that on purpose, but it ended up working out well. We did have to get rid of the box shadow on the card because we were having a double box shadow. So that's kind of the only thing we had to change from the default behavior of the card. But otherwise, that's working well. So what I'm using now is okay, cool. I just got Sebastian just popped into Instagram and sent me a message. So all right, I got it, Sebastian. Cool. Thank you. So what I'm trying to do now is make it so that these can be links. So I'd like for users, obviously, when they get that little hover effect, that should immediately say this is clickable, right? That's why I'm adding the hover effect. Also, obviously, the cursor changes. So I want this to be a link, and you can see I've already done that here. It's linking out somewhere. This is also linking. This one uses a regular just a tag, and then this one is using the React Router link component. But here's the problem that I just noticed literally 2 minutes before I started this stream. I thought like, hey, I got this. I'm going to be able to commit this before the stream. And then I noticed this. Our Flexbox stuff that was giving us a uniform height for all of our cards is not working, which I kind of anticipated, but a part of me was hoping it would just work. I did think it might not work. Let's see. So that's basically our first challenge, and I just remember that I forgot to set my Pomodoro timer, so I'm setting it now, and I'll bring it over here so you all can see. Yeah, so that's our challenge. We want it to be a link, but we also want the Flexbox stuff to still work. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I'll move, instead of wrapping things in a link here, which honestly kind of makes it a bit more messy, why not make it an option within the component so that I can pass a prop saying, it's linked. Probably I could just pass the prop giving the URL, and then if that URL is there, then it will use the link. If not, it won't be a link. So my first attempt at it, which I've since gotten rid of because it didn't work, was I tried to put in, like within JavaScript in here, in a ternary, just to put a beginning link tag and then put the closing a tag down here. That didn't work. So I never really tried it before, but I got an error when it got to the a tag that was just the closing one, so the /a, and I got an error there. So I guess it can't handle I guess having the tags within JavaScript dependent on whether or not, in this case, we had a URL. So the other option, I'd rather not do this, but the other option would be just to completely copy this and have a version that would have the link in there. I'd rather not do that. I just thought of another option that might be better. I could take all of this card stuff and make it a constant. and then at least I wouldn't have to copy all of this. So not really sure. Maybe there's another way to do this. So I'm gonna check. Let's see. I'm gonna check the live chat just really quickly, just in case anyone has pointed something obvious out that I'm missing. Oh man, someone with the tag LOL, which I've seen before, which I'm not sure if it's meaning to be laugh out loud or not, but they're saying some really like depressing stuff in the live chat, which I'm not going to share because who wants to be depressed? But it's like ironic, right? Because their tag on YouTube is LOL. Anyway, I thought it was ironic. All right, so let's do this. Dairon says, can you put your cards in a div and then call display flex? Well, I could. So I kind of thought of that too. Like, okay, well, what if I just put a div around here, like a container div? But then I thought, okay, well, that's just going to be another level of divs that I have here that's just going to kind of make this a little bit more messy. So I think I kind of want to put... I do want to have this option in the component itself. I mean, that was kind of the whole point of this component, was we wanted to have one component that could do anything you would want to do with a card. You just had to pass in the right props. So that was the idea. I'm actually not sure, like, was that a good idea? I don't know. I think it's useful. In terms of performance, I don't really know enough to know whether or not this is more performant than doing it the normal way with Material UI and importing all the different parts of the card. But this is kind of like a really simple React app. I don't think we're going to have to optimize for performance like a lot. We're not... I don't know, sometimes projects that are really simple, it's just not worth it to try to think about stuff like that early on. You know, just get it done and then go from there. All right, so let's... first things first, I want to test it out and just make sure what I'm trying to do is going to work. So I am actually just going to copy all of this stuff and just see if it works. And then we can work on refactoring it to make it hopefully a lot smaller. So this is going to be our normal. Let's go. Let me get rid of that space. No. And we'll need. We can keep paper as the element that's around it all. And we're going to copy this. Actually, now let's see. We want to check for. I think I'll have two different options because we're going to end up either using an A tag or a link tag depending on whether it's an external link or an internal link. So I'm going to need to check. Yeah, I'll need to check for that as well. So we'll have to pass that in as a prop. So there'll actually be two different props that will get passed in. It'll either be for an external link, I think we'll call it URL, and then you could just put the URL in. For an internal link, we'll just call it link, I guess. I guess we could call it internal link, an external link. That might be better. That would be more descriptive and obvious. So internal link. Let's see if internal link. Now I've just let's see. internal link or external link. No. Alright, I'm not gonna get complicated first. Let's just do the first thing. If it's an internal link, then we want to, whoops, wrong thing. There we go. If it's an internal link, we want to render this with, with the A tag. Alright, so if the internal link prop is passed, then it will be the href for this A tag. And if it's not present, then it's going to render what we had there already. Okay. Alright, so we're going to save that. Just going to make sure I don't get errors. Okay, great. No errors yet. And let's get rid of this. And we'll test out our internal link equals, and I should have yeah, let me grab that link address and we'll put that in there. Now let's save it, and it should be the same. Great. Okay, so it is the same. You can see that's working. And these other cards are not links. We hover over them and not links. Great. So that part is working. Okay. So I guess for the sake of anyone who's not that familiar with React or what we're doing, I'm not going to be able to explain everything that's going on, but let me try to explain a little bit. So what we've done here is basically like an if-else statement, but it's with what's called the ternary operator. So basically when you see that question mark and then colon here, that means if internal link is true, so if it exists, right, if it has a value, then we're going to do this first thing. Else, we're going to do this second thing. Okay, that's what we've done. Now, this is really nice, but it's not going to be enough because we want to do three things. So we want to check if there's an internal link, or if there is an external link. The reason being, I'd like to use, well, we need to use the link component. Actually, what would make this really easy, and I should just check this. Let's try this right now. Here's my idea that could just make this whole thing a lot more simple. If we use the link component, but we pass in this as the href, will it still navigate? Because I think, so we're doing that right here, and if we inspect it, we can see that we're actually getting an A tag, and then this is the href. So I say that's worth a shot. because we'll be able to keep it really simple, just really simple ternary. Yeah, let's try that. And in that case, we won't even have to have two different props, which I kind of didn't want, because that's one more thing that you have to try to remember as a prop. So we can change the prop to just be link. And let's change this to link. And then our A to link. And then this is going to be, I believe it's 2. I think I have documentation for rec router open on my other screen. I do. So our link is going to be, yes, it is 2. And we need to import this. So let's import, do I have it up here? Yes, I do. Great. So we can remove, yeah, we can get rid of this here. So we're not going to use it here anymore, but we're going to use it here. So hopefully you, I hope you can see, and I'm sure a lot of you can already appreciate this, but by doing it this way and including it in this component, we can use this component in a lot of different places and not have to worry about including, you know, these things and wrapping things. So we're simplifying. Every single time this gets used now, it will be more simple to use, right? We won't have to include things. If we would have continued with what we were doing here and wrapping this, you know, in our posters.js component, and then we'd also have to do the same thing in any other component we had. So it takes a little bit more work at first, not that much more work, but I think in the long run it definitely helps. Alright, so I'd like to remove this. Let's see. Okay, should we put is exact? I guess we are using is exact. Let's see. Is exact true. Actually, can I put it like that? Anyway, I was just thinking, do I pass in true as a string, or do I pass in true within JavaScript? Oh well. I'm not getting any errors like this, and I assume that there's type checking in React Router, so I guess this works. Actually, now that I just think about it, I may be getting a warning. I just haven't looked at the console in a while. Alright, so now we're going to pass in what we had before. Whoops, link is not defined. Yeah. It is defined now. Did I take it out? Yeah, okay. And what did I call that? Link /. So there's actually a page for poster videos that I completely forgot about and I hadn't shown any of you. So that's one more page we'll have to work on. Fortunately, we should just be able to copy exactly what we did in the tutorial page and just use it. I think there's maybe 4 videos, maybe 5, I don't know. No more than 5 videos that we'll just put in a page. So it won't be difficult. Alright, and did I ever change this? No. Let's change this. Oops, link. Alright, so let's make sure we've saved everything. Let's see. Alright, great, no errors. So we have this one and this one. Let's see. So I can't click this because I haven't actually made the page yet, so it's not going to take me to the page. Great, so these are actually links, they work. I guess I could click. Great. The only thing that I'm not doing now that it might be nice to do is open the external links in a new window. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's going to be a huge deal. That would be something that would be nice. I would say that's something that could be added like to the list of things to do to finish this up and really make it polished at the end. But I don't need to ship with that feature. I don't know. Let me know. Maybe you disagree on that because I would need then to check, assuming that I don't want people to have to put in another prop. I would probably have to check to see if it's a full URL. I guess that's how I would do it, to see if it's HTTP or HTTPS. And that still wouldn't be a foolproof check, right? Somebody could enter in. I don't know. I'm probably overthinking this. Anyway, basically, I think that's mission accomplished, right? We have our Flexbox stuff that's giving us the same height for all our cards is working again. Our links are working. Our hover's working. So I think that's good. Let me check. I'm going to check the live chat really quick just to make sure I didn't make any mistakes before I commit this. Oh, cool. Patrick had a good thought, and you had this. You had this way before I did, Patrick. So, good job on that. Sorry I didn't look over and see it. But he said, I can check. I can just use one prop URL, and then I can check if the value starts with a slash, and that's how I can determine whether it's internal or external. That's better. I think that would be more reasonable than checking for HTTP or HTTPS. Yeah, I like that idea. Breakpoint said page not found is on the GitHub page, not the previous code with the ES6 syntax. GitHub pages doesn't play nicely with React Router, I believe, and could be the cause. Yes, that's so React. The routing is a bit messed up for the GitHub pages thing. Okay. All right, cool. So it looks like I haven't messed this up too much. So I do have some good ideas for ways to improve it. But in terms of basically doing what we wanted to do at this point, I think I'm safe to commit this and then possibly revisit it with some of those improvements, namely making it basically setting target blank to make things open in a new window if it's an external link, and then open in the same window if it's an internal link, which is pretty standard behavior that users expect, I think. I know I'm a little bit annoyed if I click a link, an external link, and it doesn't open in a new tab. So I don't know about you, but that's what I've come to expect, and I like it better like that. So let me make this bigger. There we go. And let's check the status. Okay, great. And so we're just doing a git commit. We're adding at the same time and putting our message in all at the same time. And let's see. for the option to be like. Okay, I think that's about right. All right, great. Everything passed. It works. Now we'll push it up to GitHub. All right, awesome. So now that is up on GitHub, and all right, 2 minutes. Actually, I'm gonna do my break right now because if you remember, I did forget to start my timer, so it's been longer than 25 minutes. So I don't want to start something new with 2 minutes left anyway. So we're gonna do the short break. I'm gonna take 5 minutes. I'm gonna try to catch up in the live chat. After that 5 minutes, we're gonna go back and do another 25-minute session of coding. After that, we'll see. We might be finished at that point. I do want to make sure I get done in time to go home and take my son to karate on time today. So it's not going to be a super long stream. Definitely like to keep it under an hour and a half today. So I think if that's the goal, then probably just one more Pomodoro session will be all we'll be able to fit in. Okay, I just got a message that the stream status is now bad. So in terms of quality, let me know what it looks like for you all. I'm not sure why. OBS, which is the streaming software, is telling me that I still have good quality going through. So over 5,000 kilobits per second. So I'm not sure what's going on there. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to scroll up a bit so I don't miss anything. Let's see. Isaiah says, I'm interested in contributing to this project. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, definitely. Check out GitHub, check out the repo, see where you can contribute. If you don't really know where you can contribute, let me know. Like, send me a message, and I could maybe give you some ideas of things that could be done. So yeah, I would definitely, I would like it if you'd contribute. Umberto says, for all the .NET developers out there, .NET Core 2 was just released a few hours ago. So that sounds cool. I don't really use .NET often. I did have to work with .NET last week, just for a bit. I didn't really do much with it. I actually just walked into somebody's office who was having trouble with it, and they just showed me what they were trying to do that wouldn't work, and then it worked. So I didn't really do anything, but it worked. So that's the extent of my .NET experience. Okay, Alejandro says, guys, do you think an IQ of 106 is good enough to be a programmer? Let's see. I'm sure you got some responses in the live chat. My response to that question is going to be, well, first of all, assuming that the IQ assessment is accurate, right? Because I don't know, like, if you get an official IQ test, I suppose, like, you could maybe trust the accuracy of that. Although, I mean, it depends on different factors. Some people just have a bad day, right? So, assuming it's not just one of these online IQ tests that's not official, and that is really the IQ, which I'm a bit skeptical of, but if it is, then I would say it's fine to be a programmer. I guess I kind of think of it in terms of mental capacity and IQ. I like to make an analogy to like physical capability in sports, right? There have definitely been instances where people who aren't physically like really big are able to, let's say, I mean, I'm from the United States and I played football, which you said American football. So I'm most familiar with that. So I'm going to say that analogy, although I'm sorry because I know a lot of you are not from the United States. You might not be familiar. But basically, if you're not familiar with it, the bigger you are, usually it's a lot easier to play football if you're bigger, right? So people who are bigger usually don't have to work as hard to be good. But there are lots of examples of people making it all the way to professional football, and they're not really that big, but they've put in a lot of work. So I think it's possible to be a good developer even with a lower IQ, but you may have to put in more work. So I don't think that there's like a cutoff of like, hey, if your IQ is this, don't even bother. No, it's just you got to work, right? So the same thing with any sport. Like if you're short and you want to play basketball, well, like you better really work on your shooting because you're not going to be really close dunking the ball or anything like that. You're going to be a 3-point shooter or something. You know, I don't really know what sports you all are into, what metaphors would work for you, but I think that works as well with mental capacity to a certain extent. So anyway, and I'd say this, like, I'll take somebody with a low IQ that loves coding and has a really like a desire to learn and a hunger for learning. I'll take that person over somebody who's a genius and thinks they know everything and doesn't really take the time to learn new things, right? I mean, I don't know. That's my opinion on it. There are other things other than just IQ that go into being a good programmer. So anyway, I took up all my time on one question. Sorry about that, but I don't know. Thought it was kind of an important question. All right. Okay. One last thing I just saw. Sebastian said, I just submitted a PR, a pull request, adding React Helmet. Make sure everything is okay because I had some issues when I pulled your new code. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you, Sebastian. Actually, that's really cool that you added React Helmet. I'm assuming that React Helmet is with Helmet.js, right? So I'm going to check that. React Helmet. Maybe it's not. Change all your changes to the document head. Take some text. Oh, okay. Anyway, on my other screen, I just checked React Helmet because I was mistaken and I thought that was just using Helmet.js with React, but it's not. Oh, okay. Is this the same thing that we had on a previous project? All right, cool. I'll check out that PR. Thanks, Sebastian. If you're not familiar, I was thinking about Helmet.js, which is like security for Node apps. So, which I've been thinking about including in this project. But I mean, at this point, I don't really need it. But before we actually put it on a server, I've been thinking about including that. So if anyone has experience with that, let me know. Do you like it? Have you worked with it? How easy or is it to work with? Is it effective? Based on the documentation, it seems like it would be a good thing to have, and it wouldn't really take that long to set up. All right, let's start the Pomodoro timer for our second coding session. I'll come back to the live chat at the end, so don't worry if I didn't get to your question yet. I'm going to go back through everything at the end, try to get to all the questions. All right, so what can we do? I'm trying to think of something that would be interesting to do that we haven't done. Actually, let's link up this video page. Let's actually create the page, and we'll add in some of the videos, and then we'll get to show how to add a route with React Router. So that might be kind of cool to do. I know we did it early on. We added React Router and did that, but I imagine there's probably some people who just started watching who maybe hadn't seen that early on. So maybe this will be useful. Okay. So let's go over, just to show you what we were doing with React Router, we can check out sidenav.js, and in sidenav you could see we're bringing in, actually did we bring this in? No, we have it all in smaller components, so where are we going to have to go? Sidebar item, nav link, list item. Where did we put all our routes? Oh, did we leave our routes in... I'm sorry, we left them in app. There's all our routes. Okay, awesome. Okay, so here's where we put all of our routes. We're going to need another route. And I think... What did I name... Poster videos. So I think that's what I put the name as. So just to give you kind of a review, we're importing browser router, route, and switch from React Router DOM. Okay, so you see we've wrapped everything in browser router. And now we can just we'll just copy and paste to add another route, and poster videos, and it's going to be the component poster videos, which we haven't made yet. So let's make that. And where did I put this? Okay, so in the views folder, that's where we're putting all of our views. Obviously, we're going to want to put postervideos.js. So we're going to say touch source views poster.js. Okay. Now we have postervideos.js. Great. So I am going to go to our videos page. Where do we have it? Oh, it was tutorial. That's what we called it. So I'm going to go to tutorial page. Let's move it over here. And then reopen this one. There we go. And since these pages are going to be pretty similar, I'm just going to copy everything and paste it over here. Now I am going to be able to get rid of some of this, so we're not going to need this paragraph. And let's see, we may not need so many divs since we remove that paragraph. We'll see. We're gonna need to change the name. Okay, so now we have this page. We should be able to navigate to it. Let me. All right, we've taken out the paragraph, so we'll know what page we're going to. Whoops, poster videos is not defined. Well, it should be. Oops, did we not? What did we do? Oh, we did not pull it in. So, sorry, I forgot a step. So let's back up a bit. if you remember, we copied this route. We put it down here. I'm not even going to look at the live chat right now because I'm sure you all caught that and were trying to tell me. But we did not import it. So let's do that now. And we're going to import poster videos. Now it should work. There we go. It works now. And if you remember, we already added the link with the correct route. So when we click this, we should go to that page. Great. And there we go. So we have basically the same content as our tutorial page, except we've removed the text. All right. So what we want to do then, I don't think I've shown you the page that actually has the videos, so let me show it to you. And I think I mentioned earlier, but I had actually forgotten that this page even existed, and so I happened to click on that link. Okay, so here's the page, and so we just have videos for tutorials for each one of these things. And okay, so right now we have them all in one card. I'm not sure if I like that. I think I'd rather have them be multiple cards, so each one would be, well, not exactly a card, right? It's just going to be a video with a box shadow. So let's try to do it like that. And I know we have labels. Post video tutorials. Yeah, so we'll add this. I think maybe we'll put this as an H2 at the top, and then these can be H3s below. I have been kind of going with a left align style for everything, so I'm switching from the center line to the left align. I'm not 100% sure about it, but we'll see how it looks. It won't be too hard to go back through and center everything if later on we decide that it looks better centered. Okay, but for now, we get 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we need 4 videos. So let's copy some of this. So the first thing I want to do is put in our headers, so I can just copy the our H3 component along with everything else. Let's go back to poster videos. Let's see where we can put this that makes sense, that looks good. So actually, since we did have this paragraph down here that seemed to work, and it was within this container div, let's try it there. So we say H3. Yeah, we're gonna have an H3, and that first video was PowerPoint, right? H3. So let's see how that looks. Okay, that's not bad. It's a bit small. So I've noticed something a little bit odd. So all of my H tags were looking really small, way smaller than they normally would be with, let's say, like a materialized framework, which we had used before. So what I had done, so I noticed on one page the H tags were not small, they were much bigger and the normal size that I would expect them to be. I think it was an H2, and on another page it was really small. So I checked them out, and the only difference was that on one page the H tag was within a component that had a class of flow text. So I tried adding the flow text class to the one that was smaller, and it made it look bigger. I looked through what was happening in DevTools with which CSS was getting applied, and it looked weird in that nothing from the flow text was actually being applied. It was all crossed out. You know how things look crossed out on DevTools if it's not in use. So it was all crossed out, but it had a very obvious effect. So not really sure what's going on there. Maybe it's just some type of bug with DevTools that it's crossing it out when it shouldn't be. Anyway, I'm not that worried about it because it works like that. So I'll show you the difference. You see how that's much bigger than it was. So I'm just going to have to remember to put flow text on everything, which I don't mind flow text even on H tags because it does shrink them down on smaller screen sizes. If you're not familiar, we brought over the flow text classes from Materialize, which is a material design framework similar to Bootstrap, but with material design. So Material UI didn't have something like that. At least I'm not aware that they have something like that. But it's basically it makes your font responsive. So depending on the width of the screen, your font is a different size. Okay, so I like that. I think that looks okay. So let's copy this, and we should be able to just copy this container, right? Yes, I think so. I think I want to keep it all within this wrapper because we have some vertical alignment going on here. It won't really matter that much because this is always going to be taller than the screen. But just so that I don't really have to mess with that, let's keep everything within that container. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So this should just give us an idea. Whoops. Not what we wanted at all. So is that probably because of the flex that we're using? So we could probably fix this with Flexbox stuff. So let's give that a shot before I get changing the markup. Yeah, that's got to be something with Flex because we're giving it a width 100%. Alright, so let's see. V-line wrapper, yeah. Alright, so let me see in the live chat. Who is... okay, Breakpoint just asked about the Instagram. The Instagram live feed they only let you do live stream for an hour. So I usually just let it go for an hour and then turn it off. I don't try to restart it. So sorry you missed the live stream on Instagram. But it's only there for an hour. Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, I have a guide to Flexbox up on my other screen that I never closed out from Friday. Oh, Patrick said he's never been able to find the Instagram feed. I'm not really sure. The Instagram search. I think if you would search for my Instagram name, which I don't remember what it is, but it's in the description. It should come up as one of the top ones, right? I don't really search that much on Instagram, so I'm not entirely sure, but I think if you search the exact name, then it should come up. Okay. Alright, so on my other screen I'm looking at some of the Flexbox properties because I can never remember which property is which. Alright, let's try this. Oops. else do I need to do? Yeah, okay, so Umberto says you could try a width of 100 VW because 100% translates to 100% of the container. That's true, but it should. So the container div is much bigger. So that's what I'm thinking. The problem is with Flex, something going on with Flexbox. So like, let's take off. I guess I can test this out easily. Where's my Flex beeline wrapper? There we go. See, so if I take off Flex, see, it's working. It's working fine. Which, that, maybe I'll just do that. That seems like a much easier solution. Let's just do that. We don't really need Flexbox here. There's no sense in vertically aligning these. Because they're going to extend. They're much taller than anyone's viewport is going to be. So let's remove, where are we at? The V-line wrapper, which will get rid of the display flex. Alright, great, that works. Let me make sure. Okay. That's the behavior we want. Okay, so normally I wouldn't do it like this, so I would probably let's see. I guess each one would be its own column with the width of 100%. But it looks like this is all working out fine. The only reason I like to do it like that is occasionally I've run into issues where if I didn't keep the structure of like container, row, column, like the materialized grid structure, I would have some, on a small screen, a very narrow screen, you could scroll horizontally and there's this white space. And I found that if I always put everything within that structure, I don't have that problem. It seems like I'm not really having that problem here, which is okay, although I guess I am. This should work though, because it's not like I'm going outside that structure. Everything is still within the column. So in this case, I think we'll be fine. The problems that I've had when I've tried to, let's say, just put an H tag like right within the container and not within a row, and then if it's a large amount of text in the H tag, then it goes over. But I think we should be fine. I do want to put an H2. Let's see. Let's see where I can put this H2. That would make the most sense. Maybe I can put it in this. Let's see. Nah, I don't think I want to. Yeah, I think I can do it like this. I can't remember what this page was called. Poster video tutorials. Okay. And since we're not really going to do that vertical align, I guess we don't need this. So you can get rid of that. And then we can get rid of all of this and this, and we can now make this a stateless functional component. So let's do that. And where do I have? I want to find another stateless functional component so I can just copy it. Button? No. Did I not make anything stateless functional component? I thought I at least had some of them like that. Oh well. You know where I have a lot of them? In that pull request, which I put on my other screen. I guess copy and pasting only really saves you time if you can find what you want to copy. Alright, let's just type it out. Poster videos. Yes. Okay, so what we want to do, let's do it inside here for now. Videos. And are we even? Yeah, we're not even taking any props, right? Alright, see if I did that right. Hey, awesome, I did it. Cool. Alright, cool. So, I didn't really do a great job of explaining what I was doing, so let me take a moment just to explain. So, we had in there a little bit of JavaScript to check on the heights of things and the heights of the header, and then deduct that from the height of our container. Okay, that was to ensure that when we vertically align something, it actually looked like it was vertically aligned on the screen, and it wasn't thrown off because of the height of the container. Also, it was on screens where the content didn't take up the entire height. What was happening was our container was extending down below even though there was no content there, so you would still see the scroll bar. You wouldn't see it on a Mac, but on Windows and Linux you would see the scroll bar in the browser, which made you think you could scroll, but you could only scroll down a bit and there was nothing there. So didn't really want that. So we had trying to think who had added that in. Was it may have been Sebastian. If it wasn't Sebastian and I forgot who really did it, I apologize. But we didn't need that, right? So this page has enough content that was not necessary, so we took it out. Since we took it out, we didn't need state anymore because you can see that was using state to have this top coordinate. So when we took out state, then we no longer needed to have this as a class. We could make it a stateless functional component, which is a little bit cleaner. You can see how we've done that. We're able to remove a line here, 2 lines here, and then of course the few lines down at the bottom where we have all our closing brackets and parentheses. So it just cleaned it up a bit. So hopefully it's easier to follow with a bit of explanation. And let's see, I actually don't want this margin bottom 0 anymore. That was also part of trying to make sure that we don't have this overflow that causes a scroll bar. So that, yeah, there we go. That added just a bit at the bottom, which is nice. It actually could do with a bit more here at the bottom. I'm not really going to mess with it now. I think it looks fine. Great. Okay, so we have our, actually, see, this is now really small again. What happened to our flow text? For some reason our flow text is not getting applied how it was. That's odd, because here this time it actually is showing that flow text is getting applied, which is different than what it was before. But for some reason, right, like this font size should be closer to 40 for an H2. Alright, well, I'm going to have to check that out later because our timer is up, and I'm probably going to, depending on how long the question and answer session is, I may finish this up and commit this. We'll see. Hopefully I can get the right videos in here at least, and the right headers, and yeah, that'll be good for the rest of the day. I'm going to try to get this finished. For now, I'm going to go over to the live chat. I'm going to answer the questions. If you're just here for the coding, that portion of the stream is over. So if you need to quit watching now, totally understand. Thank you for watching, and come back again some other time. I should be doing a stream again tomorrow, and mostly every weekday around 2 p.m. Eastern Time. If you can stick around and you have any questions, please put them in the live chat now. If for some reason you can't put them in the live chat or you can't stick around to hear the answer, you can also send them to me on Twitter, either in a tweet or a direct message, or in any other social media that you like. I'm pretty flexible. Whatever your favorite is, just find me on it and message me there. Alright, so I'm going to get to it. I'm scrolling back up to where we left off the last time I checked the live chat, and I'm just going to go down through and try to get to as many questions as I can. All right, let's see. Okay, Kevin has a great idea. So Kevin says we should do a contribute.md that says the steps to prepare your environment to work in the repo. So install git node, clone the repo, npm install, npm start, but very detailed. That's a really good idea. So I've actually, I've thought before at various times that I should do that because, well, before I started doing the videos, I thought it'd be a good idea because I would like to get some interns or student workers in here. I'd really like to help the computer science students to get some real experience and some projects for their portfolio. But a lot of them have no idea how to use Git or GitHub or NPM or any of that stuff. They don't do that in any of their classes. So anyway, I think it's a great idea, and if I thought it would be useful before this, but now that we're really working on these projects together with all of you watching, now it makes even more sense to do that. So I will try. I'm going to put that on my Trello board. I'm going to do that right now so I don't forget. That's also something that if any of you like writing out like technical, this would I guess be a bit of documentation. If you like doing that, then please feel free to do that. That I imagine it would be the type of thing that would be changed and made better and more comprehensive as time goes on. So, but to start with, something just very basic would be better than nothing to help people out. So, anyway, I'll put it on my list to do. If any of you are interested and want to get to it before I get a chance to, then that's awesome. So let's say I'm going to copy and paste exactly what you put in here, Kevin, because I don't think I could put it any better than that. I'll just do. And I'm going to give myself maybe like 2 Pomodoro sessions. And this is just to get something there to start out with. If I was trying to make it really good, I would give myself more time. But for now, just to get it started, I don't want to put a big number here and intimidate myself, and then I'll never do it. So anyway, it's there. I won't forget. By the way, if any of you want to check out this Trello board that I'm using to kind of keep track of this project, the link is in the description. Let's see. So anyway, thanks, Kevin, for mentioning that. Okay, let's see. Okay, cool. It looks like refactor generic card. Cool. Patrick just linked gist about the card, so some refactoring there, which that's awesome. So check that out. Okay, cool. Let me bring this over. So anyway, awesome. Thank you. This is that card that we just made, but cleaned up. So this is like I was saying, to make all this card stuff into a constant, and then that way in our actual return here, see how much more clean that is, right? That's instead of having all of this in there twice, right? Now we just have this, so really so much more clean. Thank you. Oh, okay. There's some stuff with so for the Instagram profile, it looks like there's some confusion. So I'm looking at it on an Android app, so I don't know if the iOS app is very different. But like when I go to a profile, if somebody has a live stream or a recording of a live stream up, there's a little icon. It looks like the YouTube icon, and a ring that's kind of like a red purple. It changes colors a bit. around the user's profile picture. So if you click that, then you'll be able to see it. So there's no text or anything like that. It's just that ring around the profile that lets you know that there's something to see. Oh, okay. I just see Sebastian was saying that I do not need the parentheses if I'm just doing the arrow function, right? So let's see what time it is. Yeah, and that's since I'm not passing anything in. I don't need that. Just oh, cool. So Umberto asked, does flow text go on the div, as in flow text h2? Yeah, that's actually a good point. Let's try to put flow text up here. Oops. And then I can get rid of this completely. Let's see if that makes a difference. All right, cool. Great job, Humberto, catching that. So evidently, flow text does not work if you put it directly on the div, which, how did it, I thought it did something to that H3. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, maybe my eyes are just being fooled there and it didn't do anything. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I guess not. I actually kind of like that better when it was smaller. So like this, the font weight was lower, but I can change that later. Awesome. Okay, so good to keep in mind. You can't use flow text on the H2, which is interesting. You can use flow text on a P tag and it will work, but evidently in the H tag it does not work. Cool. Yosef says, hi Jesse, just want to let you know that I love to hear you and listen. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoy listening to the stream. Thanks for saying that. That really means a lot to me. So all the positive comments really mean a lot. So I actually recently I've had not a lot of comments, but a few comments basically saying, Jesse, you talk too much, just code and don't talk. So which my first reaction is usually like just now, which is kind of to laugh at it, but that's about like the extent of the negative comments that I've gotten, which I feel really lucky about that. But anyway, my point is like the positive comments really, really mean a lot, and they counteract any like somewhat negative comments in terms of just my morale and my desire to keep doing this. So anyway, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, cool. And Umberto says, 100% agree with Yosef's comment. Thanks, Umberto. I appreciate that. Oh, cool. Patrick has submitted a pull request for the gist that... Is it still up here? Yeah, here. Is this it? Yeah. Awesome. That's cool. Actually, I was hoping that you would do that because, I mean, obviously I could have just copy and pasted this in, but then you wouldn't have... It wouldn't have been credited to you. It would have been my commit. So I'm glad that you're going to do that. And then, you know, it'll be on record for all time that you submitted that and that was your work. And I like it better like that, that you'll have credit for it. Cool. All right. So I've gotten to the end of the live chat. which that's cool. Not really a whole lot of questions today, which sometimes that happens. Not really sure what causes it. Sometimes we just have like a never-ending list of questions, and sometimes it's almost nothing. But it's good today because I didn't want to do a long stream anyway. So we're about at a little over an hour and a half with the stream. So it ended up being a decent length of stream anyway. So tomorrow I should be able to stream at the same time. I'm going to check my calendar on my other screen really quickly so I can give you a more accurate. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have anything on my schedule right now, so it should be 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'll put out a tweet about it, and I'll try to schedule it as early as I can tomorrow morning. Wait a second. No, tomorrow I'm not at work. Sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. Tomorrow I'm not working, so tomorrow there's no stream. I'll be back on Wednesday, and it should be a normal stream. So one of the perks of working at a Catholic university is that we get extra holidays. So there are these Catholic holy days that we get off that no one else really gets off. So tomorrow I don't work because it's the Feast of the Assumption. So I don't have to work tomorrow. So that's cool. I'll get to hang out with my kids. But I won't get to hang out with all of you, which is a slight letdown for me. But I'll be back on Wednesday. And, I had a few more things. Let me read the last few comments here. Yosef says, I think 10 positive comments will erase one negative comment in your memory. Yeah, it's like that. Unfortunately, that seems like it is. It seems like the negative comments stick in your mind more. I really try to fight against that, though, and stay positive about it. So hopefully my ratio is a little bit better than 10 to 1. But, yeah, that is how it is. So I appreciate all the positive comments. And Umberto says, wait, tomorrow's a holy day of obligation. Yes, it is. Tomorrow is a holy day of obligation. What do you think? It's a Tuesday. I don't really know. It might depend on your particular diocese and whether or not they move it. But since it's a Tuesday, I doubt it would get moved like to the nearest Sunday. So anyway, yeah, if you do happen to be Catholic, tomorrow's a holy day of obligation. So Catholics are supposed to attend Mass on that day, but I think that's it. That's all I have. So anyway, enjoy your break from the live stream tomorrow, and I'll try to enjoy it and have a good time with my family as well. And thank you so much for all your help and all your encouragement in the live chat. Really appreciate that. And I'll be back Wednesday, most likely same time, 2 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again, and have a great 2 days.